I'm currently a senior product manager at Deliveroo. Previously, I worked at companies like PayPal and Facebook and a bunch of others because I'm a bit of a job hopper. So, loads of companies in a very short amount of time. I think I've recognized some of you. The last talk I gave, I came with slides and was very prepared. This time there is no slides. I think a lot of people, when they are considering about a career, it is very attractive. Like currently, even at Deliveroo, I have a lot of people from a lot of different departments coming to me and telling me, "Hey, Laurie, I would like to become a PM. Like, can you help me out?" So I actually have a small mentor. I mentor a small group of actually only ladies go to me, but on how to become a PM. And I think there's many ways to become a PM. Like if you ask different product managers, like they all have a different journey. So for me, I started in the internship. I was doing something kind of similar to an analyst role. So I was pulling out some data, and then I thought, oh, my team is really great. Started a company on the back of that. That didn't work out so great. Came back to PayPal in business development position, which obviously completely different. I was handling like retail partners for physical products, so like nothing to do with product. And yeah, then my contract was not renewed. I ended up without a job, like no money, and I thought about what I really wanted to do, and I was like, actually, I've worked with product managers before. I really like what they're doing. It seems really interesting. It's like a wide breadth of things that you are going to do as a product manager. You do a bit of analytics, you can do a bit of marketing, depending on where your skills lie. Yeah, you're jack of all trades, master of none, but everyone expects you to be a master of everything. So it's really like finding this trade-off. I thought was really exciting. It's in my mind was the most entrepreneurial kind of role that I could have in a super corporate company. So yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm going to become a PM. That's what's going to happen to me. And I applied everywhere to all the product roles, product analysts, junior product managers, and finally, Dixon's cover farm actually offered me a role as a PM. It was not PMing. Let's be honest. It was like they called it a PM role. It was not that. I don't know what it was. It was just really weird. I was handling some Accenture consultant. I never saw a single engineer in my 1 year there. But at least they put a product manager on your CV, and that's from then onward it kind of propels you to like, get more product roles and evolve in your career. So I would say, no matter what you're doing right now, you're already the PM of your life. Like you need to buy grocery, you need to plan ahead, make sure holidays, hanging out with friends, like all of this. Those are organizational skills that you're already using today, and becoming a PM, you can come from a whole variety of backgrounds. Who here already works in tech? Yeah. Who here is already a product manager? Oh wow. Hey, how to become a PM? So I think there's many ways, but like the few ones that I see happening really often is somebody in an operations role. So somebody who would handle, like, an example in the fintech industry, a lot of people who handle the teams who handle chargebacks. So it's like dealing with customer complaints, like, or like dealing with sorry, I'm a bit hungover today, and I have like 5 Diet Cokes, so I'm a bit orange. But like everybody that's in a operations role and dealing with a very specific problem, because they have this kind of like expertise on a specific topic, I see those being transitioned into associate product managers or product managers directly a lot. For example, N26, if you know, it's like a digital bank. It's based out of Berlin. Those guys I know for like a few years back, they were pretty keen on making operations people kind of become PMs. The other one is either sales or business development. It's a bit like operations. It's like you have kind of a knowledge, like a domain expertise of the product because you're already selling it. So again, sometimes you can be transitioned into product management. And yeah, marketing, if you're already in marketing. ideally it's a lot easier to transition to a product role within the same company. Changes from one company to another are normally a bit more difficult because people don't know you. So at this point, if this is what you're planning to do, if there's no opportunity for you to transition in your current company, the best thing to do is to prove on your CV, because your CV is your only asset. The only thing that you can do is prove on your CV that you've been involved in some product-related work. So if you work on operations, anything that's really project-based. So I work on this project and we have this success criteria for this goal. And so somebody actually from Facebook, a partner relationship manager, contacted me recently on LinkedIn and asked me, hey, I would like to transition to product, what should I do? And I told her, look, you already handle partners, so really big accounts. You're running experiments with those guys already. So it's kind of project-based. You're already testing assumptions and seeing what works. Not at a product level, but at a partner level, put this on your CV. And she told me, like when I talk to recruiters, when I talk to other companies, I'm finding it really, like everyone thinks I'm not analytical enough. And that's something that a lot of, if you're not from a data background, like a lot of people will tell you, that when they go to interviews, it's like, oh, but you're like, how analytical are you? There's definitely something that you do in your job that's really analytical. So for example, at Facebook, as a partner manager, you set up what we call lift studies. So calculating uplift, having like kind of A/B testing, having a test group, a control group. To me, that's already a ton more analytical than a lot of other roles, right? If you work in business development, you need to do leads generation. You need to analyze markets. You need to find out like where the gaps are. That's being analytical. And I think in anything any kind of position that you can have in a tech company, I'm not so well versed in like traditional industries, but I'm sure it's the same. Like working in procurement, right? You need to meet with a lot of vendors, analyze the prices. So all of this is being decently analytical, doing contract review. You have those whole stakeholder management kind of aspect. So yeah, I think all roles or any type of profile does translate fairly well into being a product manager. The kind of product manager that you become, that's different. There's like more on the technical side, so technical account managers. Most of the time, ex software developers or data scientists. I probably couldn't do this type of role. And then there's a more like marketing type product manager, which it would be closer to what I do, and it's really like user experience and understanding like the general experience of your product, analyzing markets, and it's something that you can do without technical experience. I'm just blabbering along and kind of spewing a lot of information. If this is not relevant, well, please let me know, don't shout, but yeah. I don't know, what else? Do you want to open it to a Q&A and then I can answer it clearly? I didn't prepare anything, so. Would you like to do that? Q&A, can we move to Q&A? So there is a few methodologies that I'm really fond of. So for example, like the first thing that you need to do, the first thing that you need to do as a PM is understanding your user problem or your user needs, right? And for this, there's like multiple approaches. If you don't know anything about the market, like let's say you don't have sales team to help you, you don't have user researchers, like you're really starting from scratch, you have no idea who your user is and you need to understand this. There's two main approaches that are being used. One of them is called KO analysis. I don't know what it stands for. And the other one is just to be done. KO analysis is basically the question that you ask your user is, if we introduced feature X, how would you feel about it? Like from, like, I would hate it to I would really enjoy it. And then another question about the same feature, which is, if we didn't introduce this, how would you feel about it? And it kind of helps you evaluate whether a feature importance and then the risk that you're taking if you decide not to implement that feature. On the other end, there's jobs to be done. And jobs to be done is about listing every user when they come and use your product or use a competitive product. They always have a job that they're trying to do by using a product. And what you do is that you list out all those jobs. So for example, for Skyscanner, it would be, as a user, I want to be able to book flights that are convenient to me, or like flights at a specific date. Like that's very high level. Obviously, you would list out all the jobs of what your product can currently do, or what you aspire your product to be doing, and you ask two things. The first one is, how important is this job for you? How important is it for you to perform this job? And the second question is, how well is this need or this job fulfilled? How well can you perform this job right now? So it could either be on your platform or on a competitor's platform. Now, to be honest, I prefer jobs to be done, and I'm not a big fan of Kano. Sorry for people who use Kano, I don't use that. But here's one. I think that Kano is too restrictive, right? Like it really goes down in detail of this specific feature. And so the user, when they go and rank your feature and tell you like, I would love if you introduced this, or I would hate it if you didn't, they are really rating this feature. So if you release something that is slightly different, they'll get upset because that's not what they were expecting. For jobs to be done, you understand the need, and then up to you to find the best feature that kind of fills this needs the best. So I feel like it keeps it maybe more open. So maybe for less mature companies, like when you're starting a new company or when you're starting a totally new product, probably jobs to be done is better. When you already have an established product and established roadmap and you kind of have a pretty good idea of who your user is, probably can. So the way I interact with operations, so first not all companies have the same definition of what an operations person does, weirdly. But at Deliveroo, I think the operations people I work with are really involved both in the scoping of anything that I do and also obviously the rollout. Everything depends on the kind of functions that are available to you as a product manager. So for example, at Deliveroo, we have PMMs. So PMMs are the great counterparts of PMs when you have one, when you're lucky enough to have one. They help you roll out the features, so they coordinate with all other different functions, like operations, to ensure smooth rollout. So at this stage, does that. In terms of operations, I don't know, I talk to them every week, I make sure that I understand what they are, because normally they get the requirements from, so operations, sales operations, right, like they took the salespeople and then they kind of, get the information back to me, so it goes through a multiple layer, but it sounds really weird, but like I use operations people so that they can collate information and gather a wide amount of information in a condensed manner so that it can be useful to me. I think operations is very project-based. It should be easier apart from the methodologies and the ways of working that you might be missing, or like knowing exactly which framework to use for this or that. Overall, operations has already a lot of things that product managers. You clearly didn't listen to my talk. I said that I don't think you need to be technical. If you want to become a technical product manager, then probably you will need some technical skills. I think I come from, so my background is studied at business school. I think I took some Code Academy lesson to code HTML and CSS, which I don't remember. I know everything that I know is learned on the job. I think it's working really close to engineers. They don't expect you to know. They're actually pretty happy when you ask them, can you please explain to me how this works? So for you guys, but for people in general who are transitioning into product management, the most important thing that you need to learn on the job is more like service architecture. So it's not exactly about how to code everything, but it's like how the different pieces of software kind of work together and interact together. So things like if you're working on a product that's more data-driven, or like where you're either acquiring or using data to do something, you need to understand kind of the flow. So how does the data flow from our data warehouse, or from like our front end, all the way to our data warehouse and then back. But all of those things are things that you can ask your engineers to explain to you. And if you're lucky, your engineers have like kind of good emotional intelligence, and they're also pretty happy to explain to you, and they explain in a clear manner. If not, just keep digging, and you'll start piecing some stuff together. It's always like this, right? Become a PM if you're really curious to learn new things. If you want to expand your skills into different avenues. If by nature you are quite curious, then it's no problem. Like the technical thing, it's not. You need no previously acquired knowledge. So we organize by org, and pretty much exactly like this, right? Restaurant, riders, consumers. There's a few other orgs and product orgs. But what we do is we're normally fairly siloed, but when we have big projects, or we introduced recently M+, so it's the restaurants that have their own delivery fleet, right? So this is kind of a cross-team project, and what happens is that normally, not just a Deliveroo, but I think in general what will happen is that you would create a bit of a task force. So multiple teams need to work together, but you establish a lead from either of the teams that are working together. You kind of put like, you pull a few engineers from each team, make them work together. You have for a period of time, you have those people that normally wouldn't work together, kind of work together to lead the project and shape the future. And then everyone goes back to their respective home. Yeah. Okay. Tip number 1, research the company. Like just a quick search of the name of the company and the TechCrunch article that came through. Go through their website. Stalk everybody on LinkedIn. Just to get a bit of context. That's the first one. It really depends. You're gonna go for like really like big companies that have a very structured type of interviews. So Facebook, it's like there's 3 interview types: product sense, product execution, drive and leadership. It's super structured. They're working from very specific signals. So product sense would be things like you're the PM for. I'll tell you the question. I'm trying not to do it, but anyway. The question that I had in the interview was, you're the PM for small and medium businesses on Instagram. What do you build? And so it's more about how you view your users, how you understand your user needs, like, and the kind of features that you decide to build based on this information. Then there's product execution, which is a lot more metrics focused. So you're the PM for Uber. What is the one metric that you care about? So, and then you have to explain why, and some of the drawbacks with that specific metric. So more like data driven. And then finally, drive and leadership is your standard. Tell me of a time when this happened. How did you deal with it, etc., etc. So, and I think that it's not always that well explained or prepared by your interviewer, but normally any question that you get into an interview kind of fits into one of those 3 buckets. Except if you interview at Google, in which there is a technical interview. I didn't get this, even a first interview with Google, so I don't know who they hire, but clearly you need to be fairly technical. Hopefully this thing is either you're really good at kicking people's butts so that you keep a good velocity within your team, you're really good at stakeholder management, you're really good at tackling really difficult problems and kind of breaking it down into different things. There's a lot of soft skills involved in product management. So either domain expertise, but also if you don't have soft skills, that's probably going to be a bit difficult. But ideally a good mix of domain knowledge and soft skills. But on soft skills only. Clearly I got a job, so I must have jumped somebody or something.
So the skills you just spoke about, they are available in a project management and program management profession as well. Yeah. So how it is different actually from product management?
Project management, that's a good question. There's a lot of blurred lines, but I would say product management is a lot more agile and you make some of the decisions. Project management, they tell you what you need to build and you just need to kind of make sure it gets delivered on time and kind of create Gantt charts and make sure everything is well organized. as a PM, you have to make sure everything is well organized, but you're also the one gathering the requirements, understanding the user needs, and then at the end of the funnel, kind of making sure it's built for purpose. It's, in my opinion, it's a bit more iterative. I haven't been a project manager before, but I'm going to assume, you work in sprint, you build something, you test your assumption. Sometimes it works, and you're happy, and you keep on building other stuff, and sometimes it doesn't work, and you have to kill your project. In my first 4 months at Facebook, I arrived, I was given a product. We set up a test. The test was unsuccessful. They killed my product.